Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Emergency Management Associates. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. Folks, we are coming on the air tonight, or this morning, with a very special report. This report is by in no means a final say on what happened last night near Reagan International Airport, where a plane crashed. A commuter plane crashed with a helicopter that was dispatched out of an Army fort in Washington, D.C., right near Reagan International Airport. This is a picture of that airliner that went down. It was a regional airliner operated by PSA for United Airlines. This is American Eagle CRJ 701ER involved in the accident. Okay, what happened? Well, last night while on approach out of Wichita, Kansas, into Reagan International Airport last night over the Potomac River, a helicopter went from the Army base, which was nearby, and it was on a training flight. I am not going to show you or let you listen to air traffic control at the time of the incident. Right at this point in time, the event is under investigation, so I'm not going to replay any of that conversation between ATC, the plane, and or the helicopter. At this point in time, it doesn't matter because it's all under investigation. It's up in the air. Okay? I'm not going to speculate on what happened at all. I'm just not going to do that. I'm giving you the facts of what happened last night. Now, if you want more than that, you can go to the news stations because they're going to speculate all day long. But what happened last night is a military aircraft. Last night, on our community page, I wrote a small article detailing what I believed happened with all the information that we had available. I said last night it was a Sikorsky military helicopter. It was not. It was a Black Hawk helicopter. Now, what happened last night, I'm going to tell you. The ATC, air traffic control, was telling the helicopter what to do. The helicopter was in a approach field with the aircraft, the plane coming into Reagan International Airport. The helicopter was asked if the pilot had the plane in sight. The people on the aircraft, on the helicopter, said that they had the plane in sight. I need to preface this by saying they were operating under visual flight rules, not instrument flight rules like the airplane was. The helicopter was on visual flight rules, completely different than instrument flight rules, as the plane was. The helicopter was asked if they had the plane in sight. They were wearing nighttime goggles, okay? They were wearing night goggles. So they did not possibly even have the aircraft in sight. Why am I saying that? Because at night, it's a completely different animal than flying during the daylight time, okay? A completely different animal. You see lights all over the sky. Reagan International Airport has all kinds of lights in the sky at night, okay? You have Washington, D.C. complex, the White House, the Capitol Building, Washington Monument. You have Reagan International Airport lights. You'll have lights from nearby buildings, hotels, apartments, houses, all kinds of things going on around you. It's very possible that the military helicopter did not have the plane that was in question here in sight. It's very, very possible that the helicopter actually did not see the aircraft incoming into Reagan International Airport. I'm just going to be straight up with that. Okay? But this whole thing is under investigation. I'm not going to speculate any more about that. But what I'm telling you is the helicopter was in flight. Okay? It was going forward at a very high rate of speed. It said that the helicopter was moving forward at a rate of about 170 miles per hour. 170 knots per hour. Okay? That's even faster than the airplane was traveling. The airplane was traveling about 130 to 140 miles per hour at the time of the crash, coming into runway 33 at Reagan International Airport. It was on a glide path to landing. Okay? The helicopter came and clipped it on the right rear side of the aircraft. The helicopter came and hit the plane on the right rear side of the aircraft, resulting in a huge explosion. Okay? The explosion was only visible for a few seconds because the aircraft were both very low, probably under about 400 feet high. Okay? Aircraft coming in, helicopter hits the right rear side of the aircraft, huge explosion, and both aircraft go into the Potomac River. That's what happened. There's no doubt in my mind that's exactly what happened, given the information that we have today. This is what it looked like last night. The rescue and recovery boats were in the water. This morning, Fox News was reporting the Army and the Pentagon have launched an investigation after the plane crash, according to Secretary Pete Hegseth. Okay? The military helicopter collided with the aircraft near Ronald Reagan International Airport. That's what happened. Okay? Nothing more and nothing less. Now today, the next slide I'm going to show you is very graphic. I'm just going to warn you right now, the next slide is very graphic. If you do not want to see it, that's up to you. You can continue listening to my voice and not look at the video. But the next slide I'm going to show you is very graphic. The water in the Potomac River where this plane crash occurred is about 7 feet deep. Just about 7 feet deep. Now, if it was deeper, it would be an entirely different rescue and recovery operation. And I need to say this at this point in time. The water in the Potomac River is about 35 degrees. It's very cold. Just a couple days ago, the river was frozen over. What you're seeing here is one recovery boat here with the wreckage of the plane and or the helicopter sticking out of the water. Okay? The wreckage is over on the left-hand side. The recovery boat is on the right. There are larger boats in the area, but there's also small boats in the area that are trying to participate in the recovery operation. And this time, it is a recovery operation. Okay? John Conley, chief of the District of Columbia Fire Department, said today that we don't think that there are any survivors from the accident. They have recovered, at this point in time when I took this screenshot, they have recovered 27 people from the water and the helicopter. Okay? From the plane and the helicopter. Last night at 11 p.m. when I put my comment on our community page here on YouTube, I said that there were 4 people that had been recovered and sent to Washington hospitals. At that point in time, that was correct. Now they've recovered 27 to 30 people. 27 to 30 people as of this morning, as I am airing this video. Again, this is a very graphic video showing this wreckage sticking up out of the water. Now, with that said, any more to say about this wreckage or this accident would be pure speculation, and I am not going to do that. I'm just not going to do that. What happened last night was a freak accident. With that said, having the military base where it was next to Reagan International Airport and the air traffic coming from helicopters at the base, crossing over commercial airspace, I believe is very irresponsible. However, with that said, military aircraft commonly assist with, should I say, rescue and recovery of victims in situations like this. So it's entirely common for the military to assist and fly over this area on training missions. Now, the military, the Army, is saying that this was a training mission. It is said that the pilots of this aircraft, the helicopter, had some experience. They didn't say they were very experienced. It said they had some experience, okay? Meaning they were training. And it's common for pilots to go up on training missions, whether they are very experienced or with very little experience. It happens all the time. They have to do it, okay? Pilots have to go in the air to train. And yes, there are a lot of people that are out here speculating why were they on a training mission with very little training. That is irresponsible to say that. The military does these maneuvers very commonly. The pilots have to do this to gain experience. How else are they going to get the experience? Okay? What I am saying right now is I personally believe that the helicopter did not see the plane before the crash, with all the lights and everything else on the horizon. Again, they had military night vision goggles on board. That's probably what they were using. They may not have seen the aircraft at all. Okay? The helicopter was flying at a higher rate of speed than the plane. The plane was flying about 140 miles an hour, and they were inbound into the airport, whereas the helicopter was going like broadsiding into the plane, flying straight into the plane. Okay? Now, there are questions regarding what the aircraft looks like in the water, in or on the water. The plane, and I'm going to go back to this picture where I'm showing you the plane. Right here. The fuselage of this aircraft was split in half. The fuselage of this aircraft was split in half. There were approximately 64 people in this plane with 2 crew members. 64 passengers and 2 crew members on this plane. The fuselage was split in half. Now, whether it's one half of the plane, meaning the forward compartment and the rear compartment, or the side of the plane going right down the middle of the plane, it's unknown at this time how that aircraft looks in the water or on the surface of the water. Okay? But the aircraft is said to have been split in half with the fuselage. Okay? There is no comment being made about how the helicopter looks in the water or on the water. But both aircraft went down. Okay? Now, with that said, I'm not going to speculate on whether the helicopter pilots could have seen the plane from where the helicopter was. Okay? I'm not even going to go into that. It's not necessary. But the aircraft, the plane was split in half. That's a commentary we're hearing from rescue operators in the water. Okay? Now, this is an entirely recovery operation. With the water being 35 degrees, anybody in the water that was in the plane or the helicopter would not have survived for more than an hour in that frigid temperature of the water. There's no way. Now, a reporter from Fox News asked an expert that they were interviewing on the television today whether the passengers had any time to pray or do anything else. To me, that was an irresponsible question. Okay? You can't speculate like that. They may have had mere seconds before they knew the aircraft was going to go down. If this is a big if the passengers even saw the helicopter before it crashed into them. Okay? Now, I understand how someone might want to think, I'm going to die, I'm going to pray right now. I understand that. But quite honestly, those people on the plane had no chance. Once the incident happened, or even seconds before it happened, they had no chance. I don't believe the pilot of the airplane, the jetliner, had any chance to tell the passengers that the helicopter was about to hit them. I don't even think that was a possibility. The pilot heard what the air traffic controllers told the helicopter to do. All the ATC told the helicopter to do was look around and see if they could find the plane inbound into Reagan International Airport. ATC, the air traffic control, asked the helicopter pilot if they saw the plane. The helicopter pilot said yes. And that was the last information that came over the air between ATC and the helicopter. And then there was a crash. Okay? That's all. Nothing more. Now, does anybody have any questions? I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you might have. Surgery is here in the chat. I appreciate you, Surgery. Surgery said, heard there was 4 last night. Of course, things changed. What's the latest? I'm not sure what you're talking about, Surgery. What changed? Michael Kearney says, very quick incident. It must have looked like at the wrong plane. And I believe that's right. The helicopter pilot may have been looking at a different plane than the plane that he was about to hit. Sherry says there were 4 survivors reported last night. That's not necessarily true. Okay? All they said that they had recovered 4 persons. All they said that they had recovered was 4 persons. They did not say they were survivors. Gina Kane is asking, does the helicopter have radar? Yes, it did. But even with radar, okay, even with radar, they cannot be totally certain of their location in regards to the other aircraft in the air. They can't. Michael Kearney is asking, night vision goggles would have hurt the helicopter pilot's vision. That's a possibility. That's a possibility. Rebecca, I've already gone through what happened with the aircraft collision last night. Military aircraft, military helicopter was a Black Hawk helicopter with 3 people aboard, the 2 pilots and the crew chief. The 2 pilots and the crew chief. Someone speculated earlier today that it was a VIP on the helicopter. That's not true. That's absolutely not true. It was the 2 pilots and crew chief on board the helicopter. Arnold Smith saying a similar event happened back in 1974 in the Detroit area. A close friend of his lost her husband. There's also in the 70s another aircraft incident went down in the Potomac in Washington, D.C. Richard Smith has said it's truly awful when very bad mistakes like this happen. You're absolutely right. I feel for the people on board both aircraft and their families. Okay? Our prayers go out to the families of these people that were lost. The military is presently notifying the next of kin of the men that were lost on a helicopter. No, it was not a Florida Airlines plane. No. This aircraft came out of Wichita, Kansas. The plane came out of Wichita, Kansas. There was some speculation of the people who were on the plane. I'm not even going to go into that. Okay? I'm not even going to approach that subject. Approaching that subject would be irresponsible at this time. People are already grieving. There are people who had gathered at Wichita Airport who had family members aboard that aircraft. I'm not going to speculate who those people were at all. There's someone who speculated either last night or early this morning, and I believe it was very irresponsible of that person. It's bad enough that those people lost their family members. But to speculate who is on the plane when you don't know, that is irresponsible. Total Vagabonds is here from the Emerald Islands of Ireland. Thank you very much for being here. Yes, it's a very sad day for those families, and we appreciate you being here. God bless you. Now, Thur says flying is a very dangerous thing. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. There have been numerous people already that I've either spoken to or that I've seen putting comments up all over social media and comments on some of the news stories that are going on. I also think that is irresponsible. Okay. Yes, there are people saying they'll never, ever fly again. Okay. I understand where those sentiments come from. Whenever I've had to fly or before I've had to go on board an aircraft, I thought, is this going to be something that I will regret or something that my family will regret that I've done? I've always said that. Okay. Flying is very dangerous, even though they say it's one of the safer methods of travel. It's still a very dangerous thing to do. Okay. Now, do you have any other questions? I'll be happy to take any other questions here. I've pretty much given you all the information I have, but I will answer questions, and if I can answer them, I will. I believe everybody deserves answers. Now, I put out comments. I put out an article last night on our YouTube community page. I decided last night not to go on the air because there was no information to give. The only information I had last night was no information. And that's all any news media had as well. I thought last night as a YouTuber, as a YouTube reporter, and yes, I talk about dangerous events. I talk about things that can happen that can kill people. We talk about that all the time, emergencies and disasters. But last night to go on the air to talk about what happened with very little information was irresponsible. I put out the information in that article that I put on our community page. Those were facts last night. And even then, the military had said that it was a Sikorsky helicopter when it was not. It was a Black Hawk helicopter. So that was wrong. But everything else that I put on that community page was accurate. Arnold Smith is asking a good question. I'm going to answer this question in the chat. He says, what I have a hard understanding of is this is 2025, not 1974. With the amount of technology and historical background on these types of events, why hasn't these types of situations been strategically eliminated? That's a very good question. It's a very good question. The answer is this. Again, the military aircraft was on a training mission. And the two pilots, and it's not known exactly how many hours in the air that those pilots had. It was a training mission, not necessarily for aircraft hours in the air, but it was a training mission to train the pilots on whatever their mission was. Okay? It's unknown what mission they were on, but they were on a mission. Every time any military people go out, whether it's in the air or on the ground, it's a training mission, and they don't speculate any further than that. These pilots may have had 100 hours, 50 hours, or 1,000 hours. Okay? But it's unknown. These kind of situations should have been thought through before both aircraft even were in the air. Again, the plane was inbound into Reagan International Airport on a glide slope into runway 33. Okay? The helicopter pilot, in my opinion, only again my opinion, was responsible for this aircraft collision. Okay? It collided into the commercial airliner. Surgery says the transportation chief just put out that it was a proficiency mission, meaning gain time in the air and to gain experience, if that's the truth. Okay? And I understand what's going on in people's heads. Okay? I'm not a Sunday night quarterback or a Monday morning quarterback. Okay? I'm not a pilot. Yes, I have been in planes. Yes, I've sat in the co-pilot seat on aircraft. Okay? Now, what is going on? Again, a military helicopter out of, I believe, I'm not even going to say the military name of the base because I don't know. Okay? I had information earlier today that left me kind of wondering exactly what the name of the base was. But it was a military base, an Army base, off to the side of Reagan International Airport. Surgery says President Trump is going to speak about what happened. President Trump got briefed last night. I'm sure he's been briefed this morning by his national security team, and also briefed by his press secretary. Okay? I'm sure those people have gotten very little sleep. But guys, after President Reagan's, or not President Reagan, I'm sorry. Yes, I wish it was President Reagan. After President Trump speaks, then I may have more to say, or I may come on the air later during our normal time on the air tonight, between 6 and 7 p.m. tonight. I'll be coming on there for sure and give you the latest information about what happened. Are there any other questions here? Arkansas Bluesman is asking who is really on the plane. They don't know. They don't know, and I'm not going to speculate because I don't want to put those families that had people on that plane in any more misery than they already are by my speculation about who's on that aircraft. I'm just not going to do it. Those people are in enough pain. Those people are in enough emotional and mental pain and anguish after their family members were killed in that aircraft. Okay? And I'm sorry it happened. Villaburgo says an ice skating team was on that jet. That's a possibility. That is a real possibility, but I'm not going to even speculate at this time unless we know for sure. Okay? Arnold Smith says this was a standard training mission to know the certified flight path of the military's based airport zone of area coverage. So if the ATC gave clearance to the commercial aircraft, why did it happen? Again, Arnold, I'm going to tell everybody now, this accident happened because the ATC asked the helicopter pilot if he saw the commercial airliner coming in. The helicopter pilot said he did. Okay? Now, given that information, they were flying with night vision goggles. There were lights all over that area. Lights all over that area. The Washington Monument, the Capitol Building, apartments, condominiums, commercial buildings, business complexes, and the lights at Reagan International Airport. There were also other aircraft in the air, in the area. So he could have seen any number of aircraft. It's my feeling that he may not have seen this particular aircraft that he collided with. Okay? Now, Arkansas Bluesman is saying incidents aren't common near Reagan. I'm just looking at all the variables. Yes, supposed to be international ice skating team. Okay? That's a possibility. The variables. Again, did the helicopter pilot see the plane coming in? I don't believe that the airliner pilot could have seen the helicopter. I just don't believe that. Okay? The helicopter itself ran into the commercial airliner. Okay? That's along the short of the whole event. Arnold Smith says the military uses different frequencies. Yes, they do. But in this case, the military aircraft was in contact with the air traffic control tower at Reagan International. Because the air traffic controller spoke with the helicopter pilot, asking him if he had the plane in sight. The helicopter pilot said yes. Okay? And those are the facts. And yes, it was a very unfortunate event. Very unfortunate event. Okay? Arnold is saying this was a standard training mission to know the certified flight path of the military's base to helicopter zone, aircraft zone of area coverage. Again, the military helicopters fly in this area and they commonly assist with rescue and recovery operations in an event like this. And the only way they're going to understand the area here is to fly over it. And usually the aircraft people do this all the time, military and civilian. It's common. The Reagan International Airport is a very busy airport, one of the busiest and also one of the most dangerous areas in the world. Reagan International is one of the most dangerous airports to fly into. Okay. Now, Sweet Polly Purebreds here saying, so they say helicopter hit the plane at a 90-degree angle. We don't know. We don't know exactly. But in my opinion, it was a broadside incident with the helicopter going right into the side of the plane, right in the right rear side of the plane. Okay. And yes, there's no way that commercial airliner could have seen the helicopter. And again, the helicopter was flying at a far greater speed than the airliner. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. And as I get more information, I'll pass it on. If there's anything major that happens between now and this evening after 6 o'clock, we'll be coming back on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. Heath Whittle saying, good to see you. He says he's still on oxygen. Do you no longer need oxygen? I don't need oxygen all the time. Okay? Usually when I'm sitting around doing nothing, my oxygen intake is just fine. It's when I'm up and around that I need my oxygen. Okay? But I appreciate you thinking about me as well. Guys, if you want to support our program, please continue to support our program by giving us super chats, super thanks, or send in us donations to our PayPal or Venmo locations. And I'll put them in the bottom of this. Actually, I'll put them in right below this video today in the top of the program description. Right now, I don't believe there's anything in the program description at all, but I will put that information in the top of the program description because we really would appreciate you helping us with keeping this program on the air. May God bless you. God bless those families. God bless all of us. Until we meet again, everyone, God bless. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.